I kept my marriage a secret from my parents for one reason. They would have disowned me if they knew the truth. But when they found out, they didn't just cut me off, they tried to destroy my life. Now, after months of silence, they've crossed a line, demanding to be part of my world again. But what they don't know is that I'm not the same daughter they used to control. I'm done playing by their rules, and the truth I've been hiding is about to shatter everything they thought they knew about me. This version adds more intensity, emphasizing not only the betrayal and secrecy, but also the threat of destruction, heightening the emotional stakes. It makes the protagonist's decision to stand up to her family feel like a powerful, irreversible shift that will dramatically impact both her life and her family's. I sit alone on the worn-out couch in my apartment, the hum of the refrigerator in the background my only company. My fingers curl around the edge of my phone, the screen flickering with an incoming message. My stomach twists, the familiar unease settling in. It's my mom's name flashing on the screen, a name I had hoped to avoid for weeks now. I let it ring 3 times before I swipe to open the message. Her words are brief, but they hit me with the force of a freight train. Why haven't you called? We miss you. Why haven't you invited us over to meet him? I blink, the words blurring for a moment as my mind spins. Him. Alex. The man I've been married to for the past 6 months. The man my parents will never approve of. The man I had to keep hidden from them. A secret that festered inside me like a wound I couldn't heal. I close my eyes, trying to push down the wave of frustration that rises within me. My parents, the ones who shaped me, who tried to mold my life into something I was never meant to be, now want to be part of it, now that it's too late. I remember the day Alex and I stood in front of that officiant, our hands trembling as we exchanged vows. It wasn't what my parents wanted for me. They never imagined me marrying someone like Alex. He wasn't the person they had hoped I would choose. I think back to the conversations that always felt like a gentle, persistent pressure, always asking when I would find someone suitable, someone who fit into the world they had carefully constructed for me, someone who wouldn't stir the pot, someone who wouldn't ruffle the fabric of their perfect image of me. I read her message again, my hands tightening around the phone. I haven't told them about Alex because I knew the reaction I'd get, the disapproval, the lectures about my reckless choices. I had always been the obedient daughter, the one who did what was expected, and it had suffocated me piece by piece until I couldn't breathe anymore. Alex was my escape, my quiet rebellion. My phone buzzes again, this time with a call from my father. I stare at the screen, my heart beating faster now. I don't pick up. For months, I've hidden behind the silence of unanswered calls, hiding the truth from them, locking away this part of my life like a secret treasure chest. They don't know me anymore. They know the version of me they created, the good daughter, the one who followed their rules. But that version of me is dead, and I can't go back. Not now. I stand up from the couch, pacing across the room. I'm still holding the phone in my hand, but I don't know what to do with it. What do they expect from me? After all this time of hiding, they now want to be included in my life? They think they can waltz back in, pretend like nothing happened? The absurdity of it hits me like a slap across the face. I should tell them about Alex, about the life we've built together, about how much we've grown in our little bubble of peace. But I know exactly how it will go. My mom's voice will turn sharp, the disappointment will seep through the phone lines, and my dad will go quiet, his silence louder than any words he could ever say. And then there's the guilt of hiding, of betraying the expectations they placed on me. A sharp breath catches in my throat, and I glance toward the small window in the corner of the room. The rain has started, tapping gently against the glass. I lean against the wall, trying to collect myself. I had promised myself that I wouldn't let them control me anymore. I had chosen this path, the one that led me to Alex, even if it meant severing the ties with the people I once thought I couldn't live without. But now, with every message, every call from them, I feel myself slipping back into the person I used to be, the daughter who always tried to please, who always tried to be what they wanted. The phone buzzes again. It's my mom. I feel my chest tighten, but this time I don't look away. We just want to be part of your life, Ashley. I take a deep breath. A tremor runs through me, but this time it's not from fear. This time it's something else, something I haven't felt in a long time. It's defiance. I won't go back, not for them, and I won't let them control me anymore. The weight of the silence between my parents and me has been unbearable for months, the kind of silence that wraps around you like a suffocating fog, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. It's the kind of silence that feels more like a betrayal than anything else, especially when you know that the other person isn't waiting for an apology, but for you to break. I thought about it often, the secret that was always hovering between us, the one I kept from them because I knew their reaction would be like a storm, destructive and overwhelming. They wouldn't understand why I chose Alex. He wasn't what they had envisioned for me. He wasn't the safe, respectable man they had been waiting for me to bring home, and I knew that. The first time I introduced him to them years ago, I saw the way they looked at him. It wasn't with the warmth I had hoped for. Instead, it was a cold, measuring gaze. They asked questions about his background, his job, his future. I could see their minds ticking, making judgments I wasn't allowed to make, deciding that he wasn't good enough. They never said it outright, but it was there in the way they spoke to him, the way they dismissed him. And that was the moment I realized I had to choose between living the life they planned for me and living the life that felt like mine. That day, I chose Alex. I chose love, even if it meant pushing my parents further away. And for a while, it was enough. Alex understood. He never pressured me to confront my parents, to bring them into our world. He didn't need their approval, and he made it clear that all that mattered was what we had together. But the loneliness began to seep in, the holidays without them, the birthdays that passed without a phone call, the moments when I had to lie to friends about why my parents were never around, each one a small cut that bled into my heart, slowly, quietly. I couldn't undo the choices I made, but I couldn't deny how much I missed the idea of family, the safety of having them by my side when life got hard. Even now, with all the distance between us, their absence still feels like a wound I can't close. The phone buzzes again. My mom's name is on the screen, the same number that's been calling me all week. Part of me wants to ignore it. Another part wants to pick up and tell her everything, let her see me, the real me, for the first time in so long. But then I remember the last conversation we had before Alex and I married. Her voice, so thick with disappointment, accusing me of being selfish, of throwing away a future I could have had with someone they approved of. She didn't understand that love isn't something you can control, that it's not a checklist of criteria that fits neatly into a box of social approval. I didn't marry Alex because I thought it was the safe choice. I married him because he was the one who saw me for who I truly was, the messy, complicated, imperfect woman I had tried to hide for so long. He made me feel whole, and yet I had to hide that from my own parents. I walked to the window, my reflection caught in the glass, a reminder of the life I've built without them. I want to tell them that I'm happy, that Alex and I are happy, but that would mean admitting that I made a choice, and in their eyes, choices like mine are mistakes, things that need fixing. How can I invite them into a life they never wanted for me, a life that I've fought so hard to create? The phone buzzes again, the same message. Why won't you talk to us? For a moment, I feel the pull of guilt again, the familiar ache that makes my chest tighten. I want to reach out, to tell them everything, to explain why I've kept them at arm's length. But every time I try, I hear their voices in my head, the way they've always told me what's right, what's wrong, what I should want. The truth is, I've spent so many years trying to be the perfect daughter in their eyes that I've lost sight of who I am. I take a deep breath and turn away from the window. I glance at the phone once more, my fingers hovering over it. For the first time, I don't feel the need to explain myself. The guilt doesn't consume me the way it used to. I have Alex. I have the life we've made together, and it's enough. I send a message back, my fingers steady as I type the words, each one a declaration of the boundaries I've spent so long avoiding. I'm happy with Alex. I've built my life, and I need you to respect that. I can't keep hiding anymore. I hit send, then put the phone down, my breath coming easier now. The weight that's been pressing on my chest starts to lift. The silence is still there, but it no longer feels like a cage. It feels like space. Space for me to breathe, to be. For the first time in a long time, I'm not waiting for permission. I'm not asking for approval. I'm living my truth, and that's enough. The silence after I hit send is deafening. The phone rests on the coffee table, the screen dark, as though mocking my bravery. I've said my piece, but now comes the waiting. The part of me that once sought approval, the daughter who always second-guessed her decisions, wants to check the phone again, wants to see if they've responded. But I don't. I don't need their validation anymore. I pick up the glass of wine I had poured earlier and take a sip, the bitterness mingling with the weight of my words. It doesn't matter what they say now. I have finally drawn a line in the sand, and I won't allow anyone to cross it. Not even them. Not even my parents. The evening settles around me, a soft, quiet evening that feels nothing like the storm of emotions I've been carrying for months. I remember the countless nights I spent wondering what would happen if they ever found out about Alex. The endless rehearsals in my mind of how I would break the news, of what I would say to make them understand. But tonight, something is different. The nerves that once gnawed at me, the sense of impending doom, all of it is gone. I can breathe, but as the hours pass, the stillness remains. No message, no call, nothing. It's as if I've disappeared, as though nothing has changed. And for a brief moment, doubt creeps in. Maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should have found a way to make them a part of my life, to share this happiness with them. Maybe I'm the one who's been too proud, too stubborn. I swallow hard and push the thought away. I've been suffocating under their expectations for so long. It's time to let go of that part of myself. If they want to be part of my life, they'll have to accept me as I am, without strings, without conditions. The phone buzzes again, pulling me from my thoughts. My heart skips a beat, my breath catching in my throat. It's a message from my mom. I stare at the screen for a long moment, unsure of what to expect. The words feel like a heavy weight pressing against my chest as I read them. We just want to understand, Ashley. Why can't we meet him? Why do you shut us out? The simplicity of the message makes my heart ache. In their eyes, it's as though they're just asking for a simple favor, a chance to meet Alex, to see the life I've chosen, the life they don't understand. But what they don't see is that it's not just about meeting Alex. It's about everything. It's about their need to control my choices, to dictate who I am, who I should love, who I should marry. And I'm done. I'm done letting them decide who gets to be part of my life. I let the phone rest in my hand, the weight of their words still hanging there like a thread between us, stretching thin. What could I say to this? Could I explain it again? Could I make them understand that it's not about Alex, it's about me, about my need to live my life on my terms, free from their judgment? Or would it all fall on deaf ears, the words just bouncing off their carefully constructed world, a world that doesn't have room for anything that doesn't fit into their picture? I feel the familiar sting of anger rise within me, that sharp, bitter taste of frustration that I've swallowed so many times before. I want to scream at them, to tell them that it's not about them, that this is my life, my marriage, my happiness. But I know that doing that won't change anything. They would still see themselves as the victims in this story. They would still feel hurt, betrayed. They would still see me as the daughter who turned her back on them. I take a deep breath, trying to steady my racing thoughts. The anger, the guilt, the confusion, it all swirls inside me like a storm. But I remind myself that I've been here before. I've lived in this place of doubt, of second guessing, of always wondering if I've made the right choice. I can't live like that anymore. The phone buzzes again, a notification from a group chat with friends. Something unrelated, something simple. For a moment, I let myself feel the relief of something unimportant, something that isn't tangled in this web of family expectations. I look at the message from my friend, a small joke about an old memory, and I smile. It feels like a reminder of what's real, of the life I've chosen, the people who truly matter. I glance back at my phone. Another message from my mom, the third in an hour. We don't want to lose you. We just want to be a part of your life. Her words cut deeper than I expect. I feel the familiar weight of guilt settling over me, like a thick fog. I don't want to lose them either. I don't want to lose the family I once had. But I also know that I can't keep living for them. I can't keep shrinking myself to fit their idea of who I should be. This is the hardest part, the realization that I have to choose between the family I grew up with and the life I've built with Alex. I've already chosen, and it's time to stand firm in that choice. The phone sits there, quiet once again. The choice is mine now. The hours drag on, each minute stretching like a thread pulled too thin. I sit at the kitchen table, the empty glass of wine in front of me, now untouched. I try to focus on the simple tasks at hand, putting away dishes, folding laundry, but the weight of my decision hangs in the air like a storm cloud. I feel the tension between the woman I used to be, the one who needed her parents' approval, and the woman I've become, the one who no longer answers to anyone but herself. I pick up my phone again, staring at the screen. My mother's messages linger, each one an echo of the same plea. We just want to be a part of your life, Ashley. The words replay in my mind, a haunting rhythm that makes my chest tighten. I can't ignore them. I can't pretend like I don't hear her, like I don't feel the pull of guilt each time I see her name flash on my screen. But the truth is, I'm tired. Tired of being the daughter they want me to be. Tired of hiding my true self in a box that never quite fit. I had spent years molding myself into the person they expected, attending the right schools, dating the right men, speaking in the way they deemed appropriate. And none of it ever felt real. It never felt like me. And now, with Alex, with our life together, I finally feel like I'm being myself, the woman I've always known I could be, the one who isn't bound by expectations, the one who can stand on her own, unafraid of the consequences of living truthfully. I remember the first time I met Alex, the first spark of connection I felt when we spoke, the warmth that radiated from him when he looked at me. He was everything my parents would have feared. An artist, a dreamer, someone who wasn't tied down by traditional definitions of success. But to me, he was perfect. He saw me, not the daughter they had sculpted, not the woman they wanted me to be, but me, the person who had always been buried under the weight of their expectations. He gave me the freedom to breathe, to laugh, to love without hesitation. That was the moment I realized I couldn't go back. I couldn't keep hiding him, couldn't keep hiding us. I loved Alex, and I couldn't let my parents' outdated ideals dictate my happiness any longer. But still, the guilt claws at me, as it always does. I should have told them sooner. I should have found a way to make them understand. But every time I tried, every time I thought about telling them the truth, I felt like I was stepping into a battlefield, one where no matter how carefully I chose my words, the outcome would be the same: rejection, disappointment, another layer of hurt that I couldn't take. I glance at the phone again. No new messages. The stillness feels louder now, and I realize that the silence from my parents isn't just because they're angry, it's because they don't know what to do either. They don't know how to fix this. How to make me want to come back. How to make me need them the way I once did. They don't understand that I'm not a child anymore, that I don't need their approval to move forward. But as much as I want to hold firm in my decision, there's a part of me that still wants to call them, to explain it all, to tell them that I didn't do this to hurt them, that I didn't want to create this distance. I wanted their love, their support, but I couldn't live my life for them. And maybe, just maybe, they would understand. But I know better than to think that a conversation can undo years of expectations and disappointments. The phone buzzes again, and this time, it's a call. My heart lurches in my chest as I glance at the screen. It's my father's name. I haven't spoken to him in months. Not since the last argument. Not since he told me I was being foolish for marrying Alex. I let it ring for a few seconds, feeling the pull of hesitation, the desire to just pick up and let the words spill out. But I don't. Not this time. I let it go to voicemail. His message, when it arrives, is calm but cold. Ashley, it's your father. I just wanted to say, we've been thinking a lot about you, about everything. We're worried. We want to see you. We just want to be part of your life. Call me when you can. His voice is so familiar, so much like I remember, but it feels distant now. It's as if there's an invisible wall between us, a barrier they can't see but that I've spent years building. He says they're worried, but what he really means is that they're afraid of losing control, losing me. I listen to the message a second time, the weight of his words sinking in. He wants to see me, but he wants to see the version of me that still fits into his mold. He doesn't want to see me as I am now, and that's the truth that hurts the most. I take a deep breath and press delete, feeling a strange sense of relief. I don't owe them an explanation. I don't owe them anything anymore. I've lived my life in fear of disappointing them for too long. It's time to stop. I stand up, walk to the window, and look out at the city lights stretching far below. It's beautiful, this life I've built. Imperfect, yes, but mine, and Alex's. I turn back to the phone, and this time I send a message to Alex. I'm ready. Let's live this life together, no matter who approves or who doesn't. I'm done hiding. I hit send, and for the first time in a long time, I feel peace. I wake up the next morning to an unfamiliar feeling, relief. The weight that's been pressing on my chest, that silent, constant burden of guilt, has lifted. The stillness of my apartment feels different now, less stifling, as if the air itself is lighter. I sit at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, staring at my phone. It's the same one that's been buzzing with calls, with messages, with pleas. I'm not checking it anymore. I don't need to. But a small part of me wonders if they've messaged back, if they've somehow understood. I glance at the screen, half expecting another message from my mother, some half-hearted plea for forgiveness, or perhaps an attempt at guilt. I'm not sure I would even know how to respond if it came. The phone buzzes again, this time a message from Alex. His words are simple, but they carry a weight of their own. I'm proud of you. I know it's not easy. I close my eyes for a moment, allowing the sincerity of his words to sink in. It's always been Alex, the one who's believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. He's been my rock, my quiet strength, my support in every sense. He knows how much I've struggled with the decision to keep my marriage a secret, how much it has weighed on me, but he never once made me feel like I was wrong for it. Instead, he simply stood by me, allowing me the space I needed to come to my own conclusions. I smile at his message, knowing that, despite everything, I'm exactly where I need to be. Alex and I, our life, our love, has been enough. More than enough. He's not perfect, and neither am I. But together, we fit in a way that feels right. As the days pass, the silence from my parents continues. No more calls, no more messages. The empty space between us grows wider, and at first I feel a pang of sorrow. I'm still that little girl, deep down, wanting her parents to accept her choices, to love her for the woman she's become. But that longing begins to fade with time, replaced by a slow, dawning realization that I am more than capable of standing on my own. I have Alex and I have myself, and that's all I need. The days stretch into weeks, and slowly, the sharpness of the pain dulls. There are moments when I still feel the weight of their absence, moments when I miss the idea of family, the connections that used to bind me to them. But with every passing day, I realize that I don't need them to feel whole. I've built a new family, one with Alex at its center, one built on trust and love, not expectations and control. There are hard days, of course, the days when I want to reach out, when I want to pick up the phone and explain myself all over again, just to make them understand. But then I remember why I made this choice in the first place, to stop living for them, to stop letting their rules define my worth. And I remember how much I've grown since then, how much stronger I am. The need to explain myself fades with every passing moment. It's the first holiday without them that truly hits me. There's a hole where their presence used to be, a void I can't quite fill. Alex and I spend it together, just the two of us, in our little apartment, creating our own traditions, our own sense of family. And in that quiet, in the simplicity of our time together, I find peace. It's not the kind of peace I thought I would have with my parents, but it's peace all the same. One evening, a few months later, as we sit together in the living room, I look at Alex and finally feel ready to take another step forward. I've kept a part of myself hidden from him too, the part that's still a little afraid of fully opening up, of truly believing that I can be the person I want to be without looking back. But with him by my side, I've realized I don't need to carry that fear anymore. I'm ready, I say quietly, breaking the silence between us. Ready to fully let go of all of it. All the fear, the guilt, everything. Alex looks at me, his smile gentle but knowing. I'm here, Ash. You don't have to do it alone. And for the first time in a long time, I believe him. I've spent so much of my life trying to please others, trying to fit into a mold I didn't create for myself. But now, with Alex, with the life we've built, I'm learning that it's okay to be me. It's okay to make mistakes, to not have everything figured out, to choose my own path, even if that means stepping away from the family I once thought I couldn't live without. Then the phone rings. It's my mother. I don't pick up, not this time. Instead, I let it go to voicemail. Her voice is soft, hesitant. Ashley, we've been talking. We want to come visit. We want to meet him. We miss you. I press the button to delete the message before it's finished. I don't feel anger. Not anymore. Just calm. A quiet, steady peace. I don't need their approval. I don't need to make them understand. What I need is to keep moving forward, to keep building the life I've always dreamed of. without their shadows hanging over me. Later that evening, I walk outside, Alex by my side. The air is cool, the city streets bathed in the soft glow of streetlights. We walk in silence, the kind of silence that feels comfortable, natural. And in that moment, I realize that while the family I was born into may never truly understand me, I've built a new kind of family, a family that accepts me for who I am, a family that's created from love, not obligation. And for the first time, I feel like I belong. It's not perfect, but it's mine. The weeks slip by, each one carrying a quiet assurance that the decision I made was the right one. It's not easy, and I still have moments of doubt, those small, sharp pangs of longing for the family I once had. But they are becoming fewer and farther between. I've learned to carve out space for myself, for the life Alex and I are building together, and that space feels bigger with each passing day. One evening, a few months later, as I sit on the couch with Alex, my phone buzzes again. It's another message from my mom, one I don't need to open to know what it says. It's the same as the others, the same soft, hopeful words. Can we meet? We want to make things right. A deep breath escapes me, but I don't feel the old rush of anxiety that once accompanied her messages. I don't feel that overwhelming need to drop everything and explain myself. I've already made my choice, and I've already set my boundaries. I delete the message without hesitation. I sit back, letting the silence fill the room. Alex looks over at me, his eyes soft with understanding. He knows what I'm thinking without me having to say a word. He doesn't need to ask if I'm okay. He knows I am. For the first time in a long time, I realize that the family I've built doesn't have to be defined by blood. It's defined by love, by trust, by the people who accept me as I am, without asking me to change. And in that quiet, simple realization, I find a peace that has eluded me for years. As the days continue to unfold, I focus on what matters most, living authentically, embracing the life I've chosen with Alex, and not looking back. The pain of losing my parents, of stepping away from the version of family I once thought I needed, begins to feel like a distant memory, a chapter in my life that no longer holds power over me. The phone buzzes one last time. This time, I don't even need to check. I already know that things are different now. I've stopped waiting for their approval. I've stopped asking for their permission. And in doing so, I've learned to embrace the life I've always wanted. I smile as I put the phone down, my hand slipping into Alex's. Together, we walk forward, hand in hand, into the future we've created. A future where we are free to be ourselves, without fear, without guilt, without regret. And in that, I realize something I've always known deep down. The family we choose is the one that truly matters.